how's it going? My name's Joe, and today was a banner day for my Marvel Legends collection. First, on my way home from work, I stopped at a local Walgreens and picked up the exclusive Sue Storm Invisible Woman figure. After picking up the Invisible Woman figure, I decided to keep chasing that collector high dragon, and I went to a local Walmart and found the two figures from the Vulture Build-A-Wing series that I wanted, which is the Marvel Legends Tombstone and the Spider-Man Homecoming Web Wings Spider-Man. So I'm really excited to get these out of the package and check them out and add them to my collection. Cheers! Alright, so here's the Sue Storm figure in the package. Nah, I'm just kidding. Who gives a shit about these boxes? Not me. Alright, so here's a 360-degree view of the Walgreens exclusive Marvel Legends Sue Storm, or Invisible Woman, and Herbie. The way I understand it, Herbie was a character that was created for a cartoon series back in the day, and the thought process was that if kids saw a cartoon with a guy who was on fire, like the Human Torch, they might try to imitate that and light themselves on fire. And so Herbie was Johnny Storm's replacement in that cartoon series, so there would still be 4 members of the team, and they wouldn't have to worry about kids at home hurting themselves. I have never read any comic books with Herbie. I don't really know that much about him. I haven't watched a lot of those old cartoons, but I assume that he's comic relief on the cartoon series. Either way, he's a cool little pack-in character, and this little figure looks pretty nice. The main attraction, though, is the Invisible Woman figure, and this is without a doubt the best Invisible Woman in the Marvel Legends line, either by Hasbro or Toy Biz. Alright, so I really like this Invisible Woman figure so far. I've heard people criticize that the head is a little bit too big for the body. I don't feel that that's true. In hand, I think that it looks pretty good. I think that sometimes superhero characters are drawn with heads that are too small. But anyways, she's got really nice articulation there. She can't look straight up, but, you know, pretty far. I think that's enough. And she can look down, side to side. And you've got nice pivot back and forth for a little attitude. She's got ball socket shoulders that rotate all the way around, up and down. Ball socket elbows that also rotate. And she's got the same joint here at her wrist. It rotates and pivots. She's got a pretty nice diaphragm joint. I think that works good. She's got hip joints here that go out to the side about that much. I don't know why people are worried about whether or not their figures can do the splits or not, but she can go that far if you care. She's got a nice swivel right here. It works good. I just think it's ugly. You know, if you twist it around like that, it looks like shit. So I never use that. Also, it throws off the musculature. Not so much on her, because her thighs are pretty smooth, but especially on dudes where they have the more defined muscles, I think that looks like shit when you turn it like that. So anyways, she's got double jointed knees that work really good, and she's got no joint here at the boot cuff, but she does have the ankle pivot that works pretty good. She can point and flex her toes, and she's got that ankle rocker joint that really helps with posing. Alright, so I'm pretty pleased with this Invisible Woman figure so far. I think the eyes look really, really nice. All the paint detail on her I think is pretty good. The hair has a really, really nice paint wash. I think that looks great. The only thing on her face, I think, is this bit of metallic paint that they did on her bottom lip. I think to make it seem like her lips were glossy and reflecting light. I think that's a little too heavy, but her right arm is done in this like transparent plastic to kind of display her power set, and I think that's really cool. Her left hand is the same way. She also comes with an alternate gripping left hand that's all black plastic. I don't know why you'd use this when you've got this option. And her fingers are a little warped from the packaging still. I need to get my wife's hair dryer and fix those. But one thing to look out for, everyone that I saw at the Walgreens store that I went to, I think there were 6 of them to choose from, they all had a little paint chip here on her hip. So be conscious of that when you go look for this figure. Also, watch out for the logo on her chest. I saw a few of them that were kind of sloppy. This one looks really nice and clean though. Alright, here's the Herbie figure. This is a really cool accessory. I like this a lot. I would prefer to see him do this more often in lieu of Build-A-Figure parts. That's just me personally, but he comes with this flight stand here. This unplugs from his bottom, and I think it works pretty well. He also has one point of articulation. He has a ball socket neck, or a ball socket head, or whatever, and that works really well. The paint detail on him, I think, is, there's not much to it, but I think it looks pretty nice. Unfortunately, mine has a little scuff mark there. I'm going to try and use some goof off or something to get rid of that. Alright, here's the new Sue Storm figure compared to a couple of other Hasbro Marvel Legends figures. This is from the Ronin the Accuser wave, I think. I bought her on eBay. And then this is from the Toys R Us exclusive 2-pack that came with a Human Torch figure. I also bought her on eBay. It's really no contest. I think the new one is head and shoulders above the other two. Alright, so here's the new Walgreens exclusive Invisible Woman figure with the old Toy Biz Ben Grimm, Human Torch, and Reed Richards. And these guys are really starting to show their age. I actually don't mind the Ben Grimm figure too much, but it would be really cool to have a set of all matching colors. The same color blue and black. We know there's another Walgreens exclusive coming later this year. It's Human Torch, but it's going to be the powered up, you know, flame on version of Human Torch. So I would really like to get an updated Reed Richards that's not so gangly looking, and a Ben Grimm figure that matches the same color blue as this Sue Storm. Alright, so here's the new Marvel Legends Tombstone figure. This is the first Tombstone figure to appear in the Marvel Legends line. And right off the bat, I'm a little disappointed because when I think of Tombstone, I think of him in a suit and tie. The first comic book that I read with him as the villain, he was wearing a suit and tie. I would have much preferred to see that over this costume. That's just me personally. Another thing is, I'm not real crazy about the Hyperion Buck. This figure has a new crotch and torso, but the rest are reused parts from Hyperion and a bunch of other figures, and I think the articulation can be better, especially in the ankles. Again, you'll notice the straps around his ankles there are not supposed to be at his ankles. They're supposed to be at the top of his boot cuff, like mid-calf. And I don't think it would be much to ask for Hasbro to add a drop of glue to keep those in place, especially considering there's not very much paint on this figure at all. Alright, so here's the Tombstone figure, and like I said, this is based on the Hyperion Buck, so it's not too surprising probably. He's got a ball socket head, and it's pretty tight on mine. Can look up about that far, can look down significantly. Obviously side to side, and you can get a little bit of a tilt there, back and forth. He's got ball socket shoulders. He's got a bicep swivel. He's got double jointed elbows, but these bigger figures like this, you're not going to get a lot of range of motion out of those because their biceps are so big. He's got a hinge at the wrist and a swivel. That works really well. He's got an ab crunch joint that works really, really well. He can crunch that far forward and that far back. He's got a waist swivel. Mine's a little loose. He can do the splits about that much. He's got this really hideous thigh swivel joint. I hate that. And pretty good range of motion with the double jointed knees there, considering how big and bulky he is. He's got the calf swivel or boot cuff swivel that works really well, and he's got toe pivot. He can flex and point his feet, and he's got that really nice ankle rocker joint that's pretty standard on all Marvel Legends now. Alright, there's not a lot of painted or sculpted detail on this figure. I think the head sculpt looks really great. That is just perfect, I think. The paint on it leaves a little to be desired. There's spots, especially in the hair here, where they didn't get all the paint on there like they should have, and you can see some blue peeking through. The eyes look really nice and clean. His teeth look fairly decent. The paint shading, the dry brushing effect on his torso looks really good, but then when you do this ab crunch, there's like no paint shading here, and the sculpt just ends right there too, so that's a little disappointing. I'm probably not going to pose him like that, you know, but that could be a problem for some people. He's got a little bit of paint slop here, and on his stomach there, that's a little disappointing. And the belt could be a little bit cleaner. Other than that, there's really no paint on him. There's a little bit of silver on the buckles, but it's so dark that you can just barely see it. Here's a quick comparison to give you an idea of the scale for the new Marvel Legends Tombstone compared to the Marvel Legends Pizza Spidey. Hey everyone! It's the new Marvel Legends Spider-Man Homecoming figure. Right off the bat, I think this figure is a major improvement over the one that came in the Civil War 3-pack with the battle-damaged Cap and Iron Man figures. Just on paint alone. I don't know if this reuses any of those parts. I imagine it probably does. I think the shoulders are a little bit too narrow and too low, unfortunately. I know that Tom Holland's not a big, huge guy with broad shoulders, but it just seems a little off. The proportions seem a little weird. The articulation seems really good, though, at my first impression. The web wings, not as cool as I was hoping they would be. I don't own the Spider-Woman figure that came out a couple years ago in the Thanos wave, but from what I've seen and heard, it seemed like those web wings that she came with worked pretty well, and these don't work so well. So the articulation on this Spider-Man figure I think is pretty nice. He's got a ball-jointed head that looks up and down and side to side, and you can get a little bit of a tilt there. I think that's cool. He's got these butterfly joints here to shoulder that work pretty well. He's got ball socket shoulders here, all the way around, up and down pretty well. He's got a bicep swivel that works nice. He's got double jointed elbows, and they work good, but I think they look kind of lousy if you turn them around. You can see a gap right here, and then on this side especially, you can see a gap when his arm's fully extended. Not real crazy about that. He's got a pretty good ab crunch joint. Works really well. He's got a waist swivel that I'll probably never use because it breaks up the sculpt too much. Like, that really bugs me. This is one character where I can see wanting hips that go all the way out to the side so he can do his splits, because he's such a acrobatic type character. He's got these thigh swivels right here, which I don't like. And another thing is too, is that this figure without that thigh swivel still has pretty good thigh swivel because of the ball socket hips there, so I don't even know why they need this. He's got double jointed knees that work really well. Nothing at the boot cuff. That's not real surprising. He can point his toe and flex his foot, and he's got really nice ankle rockers there also. Alright, so this figure comes with the alternate head sculpt with a squinting Steve Ditko-esque eyes, and I think that's really cool. The paint could be a little cleaner on the eyes, but I really like that a lot. He comes with two closed-fisted hands, one for each side, and two web-shooting hands, one for each side. Alright, so the main reason why I bought this Spider-Man figure in particular was because of the optional web wings that he comes with. And these just plug into a little slot on the inside of his bicep there. Unfortunately, on the left side, they don't fit very snugly in there, and they fall out pretty easily. It works a little bit better on this side, but not a whole lot. And obviously, when the arms are out like that, then it looks silly. But you know, this is the reason why I bought this figure, and that's pretty disappointing. I would have preferred, knowing what I know now, I would have preferred holding out for the 2-pack version that's coming out with the Ultimate Iron Man and the Spider-Man figure with the Tom Holland head sculpt, the unmasked head. I think that would be better. The web wings are why I bought this figure, so it's kind of a disappointment that they don't work better. I think the paint and sculpted detail in this figure is pretty nice. The eyes on this one are super clean. It has a dark gray paint wash that settles into all these sculpted lines for the webbing, and that looks pretty nice. I think this one looks really cool. Like that spider logo on the back. That actually looks like it's a different piece of plastic that's glued in there instead of just painted. I'm not for sure, but I think that looks really cool. I still think his shoulders are a little bit too low and too narrow. I think they could have worked a swivel joint in here so that his web shooters would line up with his hands a little bit better. And also, like, why can't they just put a little dab of blue paint right here and right here to cover up those pins? I don't understand that. Details on the rest of the suit look really nice. These blue lines right here, these darker blue lines, they're showing up better on the camera than they do to the naked eye, but they're not as apparent when you're looking at the figure under normal lighting conditions. Alright, and coming soon to eBay are these Vulture Build-A-Wing parts. I'm not planning on building the Vulture wings. Just thought I'd give you a look at these in case you were interested. This part came with Tombstone, and this part came with Spider-Man. So, anyways, I think they fit together like this, and they must be hinged so that this thing can rotate, but anyways, whatever. Alright, so here's the new Homecoming Spider-Man compared to the Amazing Spider-Man 2 Spider-Man figure, the recent Ultimate Spider-Man figure that came with the Vulture and the 2-pack that was a Walmart exclusive, and there's Pizza Spidey. Alright, and here's the new Homecoming Spider-Man with the Civil War Iron Man and Civil War Captain America, and I really like the way these guys look together. Alright, so if this is a competition, I'd have to say that the Invisible Woman Sue Storm figure would come out on top, followed by Spider-Man. The Tombstone figure is fine. He's just a little bland and underwhelming, and what really kills it for me is these straps here. I'm going to have to fix that myself, and I don't feel like I should have to do that all the time. The Spider-Man figure, the main reason why I bought him was because of the web wings. I don't have any other Spider-Man figures in my collection that have those. So I thought that would be really cool. And now I kind of wish that I'd waited until the 2-pack comes out with the Ultimate Iron Man, because I wouldn't mind having that Iron Man. I think that paint scheme looks cool, even though it's just a repaint of the Civil War Iron Man. The Sue Storm figure I'm really pleased with. She was probably the one I was least excited for out of these three, and turns out that she was the one that I liked the best. I hope that Marvel Legends continues to make Fantastic Four characters, and I really want to see them use the same shade of blue. It would be nice to have a matching team. So it might seem like I've been ragging on Tombstone and Spider-Man a little bit too much, but actually still pretty happy with these figures because I found them for $10 each. I don't know if they were mismarked or if they were on sale to get rid of older Spider-Man Marvel Legends figures, but the Walmart that I found these at had them marked for $10 each. So if you're interested in these or any other Spider-Man figures from the Homecoming, Vulture, Build-A-Wing series, then I would suggest go hit up your Walmart stores now and try and get them for $10. So I hope you liked this video. I hope you found it entertaining and informative. If you're a Spider-Man fan like I am, then stay tuned, because in anticipation of Spider-Man Homecoming coming out next month, I have some other Spider-Man videos planned. I have a custom Sandman figure that I'm working on that I'm going to do a work-in-progress type video so you can see all the steps I've taken to make the figure, similar to my custom Magic figure if you've seen that video. And also I plan on doing an overall view of my Spider-Man collection, my Spider-Man action figure collection. So, you know, stay tuned for that. Keep an eye out for that. And until next time, I'll talk to you later. Take care. Bye.